And this is Danny. We're going to talk about this travel channel that we're getting started here. So a little background. I've been doing radio for about 6 years about digital currencies, and that kept me on the road. A few years back, I sold my house, went full-time RV, and I've just been freely traveling all over Mexico and the US doing my radio show. So right now, we're going to go on an adventure. There's Jonna's Jeep. Jonna showed up, and what we're doing is we're leaving the RVs behind, and we're going to travel to Mexico for almost a month and see just some great places along the way. All right, I'm here with Jonna, and we're fixing to do, well, what most people who have RVs and those ugly land places called houses, well, they leave their homes to go to their RV to go on an adventure. We're a little different. We're full-timers. So we're leaving our RV to go on a streamlined adventure in this thing.
It's a mini RV with the tent on top.
Yes. So we're going to have quite the adventure. We're going, well, tell us where we're going.
Well, we've decided to go to Acapulco. I don't think either of us were going to go, but then I had this bright idea and I said, "Hey Danny, you want to drive to Acapulco?" And he said yes. I was certain he was going to say no, and I came up with a whole soliloquy of ways to get around his objections. I barely got the words out of my mouth, so we're going to Acapulco. 1,883 miles, I think.
Is that all?
Well, it'll probably take us longer. It'll probably be more for us. 2,000.
So we're going to stop off first and see Slab City. I've been there before. It's an interesting kind of I don't know what you would call it, a steampunk art installation where squatters just create art out of trash. It's always I wouldn't advise staying there. Maybe this time of year it's good, but it's a nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. And then we're going to go on to Mazatlan, and then Puerto Vallarta, hopefully this little town called Chiron, where they've done some very interesting stuff with the government. So we're going to document this all along the way, and what we hope to do is stay in this Jeep with the tent on top that folds out and some RV spots to kind of analyze what it's like traveling through Mexico for an RVer. When we first discussed the idea, Jonna actually wanted to take her RV, and I said, no, first you should drive it. I mean, I've driven Mexico. I've taken my RV to Mexico multiple times, so I'm familiar with it. But I wouldn't just tell somebody to take their RV somewhere where they haven't driven in a car. So if you are thinking about Mexico for your RV, drive there first, analyze the roads, and make sure that you're comfortable with taking your RV through something that rough. For me, it wasn't as bad as Detroit. That place is horrible, but Mexico does have some rougher roads. So yeah, check us out along the way.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens.
We'll see you at the next stop.
Day one, we made it to our first planned destination. We actually ended up stopping at a tank museum and a gas station because we ran out of gas.
Yeah.
So here we are near the Salton Sea at Slab City. And this is Salvation Mountain. We'll take a spin through East Jesus, hopefully before the sun goes down. We only got maybe an hour if we're lucky. And this is something interesting to see. The inside stuff is a little bit more interesting, and I'll take a clip of that. So what do you think of your trip so far?
It's been eventful. You know, the inverter didn't work, and then we ran out of gas, but we made it. This is where we wanted to get to, and we got to do the tank museum. We ran out, our gas tank went dry, but we ended up at the tank museum. You know,
I mentioned in the first clip of this about how I got into this. How did you get here?
Oh, how did I
you
get
become an RVer?
About a year and a half ago, no, maybe 3 years ago, I actually got an idea just to sell everything I owned, to make my life simple, and go see the Americas. So it took me 2 years to sell everything I owned. I bought an RV, and I tow a Jeep. We have the Jeep now. We stored the RVs. We don't even need the RVs after all that. And I just started traveling full time.
So what advice would you give? You started out as a single woman doing this.
Mm-hmm. I have a dog.
And it was, okay, you've got a dog.
A little one.
It's a pink
Papillon. 6 pounds.
I don't know if it was born pink, but it's pink now.
It's a special breed.
And, but, so you took off on the road. What advice would you give to a single woman who had this thought about doing it?
Plan ahead.
if anybody has ideas of bum rushing her, you got something else coming because she's well armed as well.
It's the AR-15 that scares you, isn't it?
Yes,
Keeps you in check.
So we'll end this here, but we'll check out some more inside.
See you later.
Deep inside of the Salvation Mountain art project, it's like walking into a Dr. Seuss book.
I was like, something's there.
Into the Wild, the kid that died, Christopher McCandless. I guess that movie kind of brought this place into the public eye, so obviously that's the homage. Now we're in East Jesus at the art installation, and this is one of the art projects. Have a look around.
Whoa!
What's all that?
Super crazy. This guy.
This is like a really nice car, isn't it?
I want to live in it. What a great RV. So this guy believed that whippets and bourbon were the way to God. And so he started the Church of the Chocolate Martini, and so they all meet on a certain day, and they have sweet alcoholic drinks.
Well,
and I guess they do whippets too.
Did he also say, "Prove me wrong"?
No. What is it? Was he supposed to?
No, I mean, you said, "Oh, look, Bitcoin Cash." You got to be kidding!
Oh my God!
Oh my God! I'm at an art installation. You got to see this, Bitcoin Cash. That is not the real Bitcoin.
Oh, don't be a babe.
So,
that is some funny shit right there.
Oh my God! So that's the thing here, and one of Ernie Hancock's domes, probably. Here's the blah blah, whatever you want to call. Oh, one of my friends that does a radio show. It's
Can I get a picture like you?
Yeah.
Will you take it?
Yes.
Or when you're done videoing it first.
Anyway, there's a lot to see here. Definitely come check it out. You won't be too disappointed. As a former roofing contractor, I can verify that this roof is definitely not up to code. For shame. They call it East Jesus. I think it's East Kansas. We've heard of trash metal, and this is music out of trash. So this is one of the artists here at Slab City, apparently from New York, Buffalo, New York. Niagara Falls. Anyway, a lot of interesting stuff here. Definitely come check it out. All right, I'm here in Slab City, and here's a guy who came here as a reporter. Tell me the story about how you were a reporter and how you are in Slab. How did you become to be part of Slab City?
First of all, I'd say welcome to EJ. It's an honor to have y'all inside of the world's fanciest landfill. I originally came here in February of last year as a documentary filmmaker employed by the BBC to make a documentary about this crazy place. So they hired me to spend, a week out here filming. I chose to spend a week after that volunteering alongside all these weirdos who've created this wonderful garbage museum. Yes. And, just fucking fell in love with the place. It's a place where you can truly do anything in the world. And the craziest thing about working with trash is you never got to pay overhead. You never have to pay for the supplies. People are constantly just making it, and it's just out there begging to be made into art. Yeah.
So what's been the most interesting thing or person that you've met since you've been here?
I'd say the most interesting person I've never met is Charlie, the person who founded this place. And although he's no longer with us, you know, the spirit that he exudes is still here.
That wouldn't be. That's not the same guy who.
Oh, no, that's
Salvation-
Leonard. So
okay,
basically,
Salvation
Charlie
Mountain.
came out to Slab City in I guess it would be the early 2000s. And originally he wanted to work with Leonard on the mountain, and he experienced a couple of creative differences just because he wasn't a religious man and Leonard
Right.
was very religious. So Leonard said, look, you know, thank you for your help, but why don't you go and do your own thing? And Charlie said, yeah, and he happened to stumble across this marvelous place while it was being used for about 40 years as a dump. Yeah, so he saw about 4 decades worth of trash here and figured, no, this is morally unacceptable. And he did what any rational, normal person would do and quit his job to move out here and spend the rest of his life cleaning up garbage and making art out of it.
So I think one of the major places that people hear about this is from the movie Into the Wild.
Totally.
What do you think of that? What is the impact? 'Cause I think a lot. What do you think the percentage is actually of people that have heard of this because of Into the Wild?
You know, I'd say any media that exists that spreads awareness about the absolute cornucopia of creative knowledge that exists within the 5-mile radius of this place is absolutely insane. I love it. I love Into the Wild, great movie, and I love anything that's gonna spur people to have these moments where they can see this art and consider making art themselves and consider changing their perspective and changing the paradigm that surrounds garbage.
As you come into Slab City, there's a saying. It says the last free place on earth. That's kind of I would say kind of an anarchy type symbol.
Yeah.
How would you judge this place? Is this anarchy?
Well, we are a creative artist commune. You may have seen a billboard on your way in that says East Jesus is not Slab City, spray painted by our neighbors and put forth by them. It factually is true, because when you take that left off of Beale, you enter what's known as the Velasquez Land Trust and you leave what's known as Slab City. But on a more moral level, right, out in Slab City, it's fine to smoke meth and throw your trash on the ground. Here at East Jesus, not so much. Ergo, our neighbors are correct. East Jesus is not Slab City. It's we border Slab City, and we're founded on Slab City's landfill, But on a property level, we're not Slab City. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And what's your name, man?
I'm Moon.
Moon. This is
Mandel.
Moon.
Howdy. It's
and you guys, so I just bought this nice T-shirt here. We paid in nasty fiat. They take many methods of payment, one of which might be Bitcoin.
That's right, y'all. We are not only an official 501c3 nonprofit, landowners of this crazy place, and the only registered art museum here in Imperial County, but we accept all donations. We accept donations of weed, whiskey, whippets, tobacco, potato chips, Bitcoin, all the good things. If you got it and humans like it, you can bring it here. And let me tell you, we don't just want, money, currency. We want your junk, too. We want your old fax machines, your broken bicycles. We want your old cars that may or may not run. We'll make it into art. We got an amazing visitation policy. You can visit it 365 days a year, sun up to sundown.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Fuck yeah, dude.
All right. I'm at the tanks. Tanks for coming to the tanks. The theme of the day has been tanks. So here's what we've got. It's kind of a graffiti art type thing going on here. Jonah's on the ladder. Here's your phone. Okay.
High altitude aerial stats cannot get on the tank.
That's okay. Oh yeah, a roofer. Anyway, so here we have it. This is the tanks. And there's some cool art on the outside, but there's some really cool stuff on the inside too. If I had one more ladder, I would go ahead and jump down. But I don't. Anyway, this is a good aerial view though of what Slab City is. Yeah, you can't be afraid of heights if you're going to get up here. And there's the Jeep. What's that? In here? What are they going to build? Building a dome over this? Okay, so one of the locals is telling me that in a couple weeks they're going to start building a dome over this. Like a geodesic or what? Is there a ladder on that? Is there a ladder on that side?
Yeah.
Oh, we took the long way around. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to go over here to the ladder. There's an actual platform to stand on and check this out. Part of the magic here at Slab City would obviously be the range, which is kind of this free-for-all, bring your own beer, outdoor music venue. And as you see, there's the crowd. There's the crowd enjoying it, and of course, Jonna has to be part of it. So, Jonna is hula hooping.
It may seem